Hey folks, this is Meredith from the Papery Craftery, and today I'm going to be sharing some big, bright, tropical flowers. I'm using, like I said, really bright quilling paper. I have a color called Sunset from Quilled Creations, and then I do have a little bit of this really thin 1/16 inch paper called Buttercup Yellow, and I'll share more on that later. I am going to be using my paper crimper here, and I also have my quilling comb. I'm doing a combination of both of these tools to make these flowers this time. I've been really into the quilling comb lately, so thought I'd make another one today. I do have a needle tool here. I have my quilling tweezers, some small scissors, and then for glue I do have Elmer's glue all, just a white glue in a needle nose container, and then I do have some tacky glue when we're putting the flowers together. I am going to be needing to pin these together a little bit, so I have a cork board covered in parchment paper and some pins, and then we're going to be molding these flowers to give them some dimension, and because they're kind of big I needed kind of a glass bowl. Plastic bowl will work just fine as well. So to start off, I'm going to take one piece of this sunset orange paper. This is 1/8 inch wide, and the strip is about 18 inches long. I'm going to run it through the third biggest size of my crimper, and that's just a personal preference, but I just wanted these flowers just to have some texture to them, so that's why I'm running the paper through the crimper first. And then we're going to be making these on my quilling comb, but I like to give a couple turns on a needle tool first just to give it a bit of an anchor. It's a little bit easier to start off with that way. And I put that anchor right on the bottom rung of my quilling comb, and we're just wrapping the strip around, going one tooth higher on my comb at a time. I want to add a little bit of glue each turn that I make because I really want that end to stay in place where it is. Like I said, I'm just going one tooth higher every time, wrap it around the back, and add a dot of glue. And this technique will work on any type of quilling comb you have, not just the onion holder comb that I'm using here. If your teeth are closer together, you will just make a smaller flower. If your teeth are the same size, you're going to make around the same size flower that I'm making here. I am going to continue wrapping until I get to 8 total teeth. So like I started with my first one, and then I'm going up 8 total, including the first one, I guess I should say. So 8, including that first loop where I put the anchor. It's just easier to count that way. After I get to my 8th, I'm going to use scissors here to snip off the tail. I know I usually don't recommend using scissors on quilling shapes, but you don't want to pull your crimped pieces too much. Like when you were tearing it, you would pull a little bit too much and you might lose some of the definition and texture from your crimp. So cutting it is fine in this circumstance. Add a little bit of glue, make sure it's all smooth. I'm going to take it off. Now, if you've seen my latest video before this one about baking some leaves on a quilling comb, it's going to look kind of familiar. Gave it a tiny pinch to just the first 2 layers on the top, and then pushed it in towards my other hand. That's going to open up that shape in the middle and give it a nice point on the end. And that's what we're looking for this piece. What you're going to need to do to make the flower is make 10 of those size, and then I have more there, but you only need 5 of a smaller size. To make the smaller size, instead of doing 8 loops on my quilling comb, I just used 6. So if you're using a different size comb, plan that accordingly. But you need 10 of the larger size and then 5 of a smaller size. The reason we're doing 10 of the larger size is that we're gluing 2 of them together to make 5 really big flower petals. So to do that, this is where your cork board is going to come in handy, because these will kind of need to be cinched together with some pins. I put one pin in the loop that we first made, the little anchor on the bottom to keep it in place, and put some glue on the inside of one of the halves of the petal, and then to keep the other one in place, I put a pin in the same spot, get them really close together, and then just kind of pull the points up to meet. You will kind of squish the center of your shape a little bit. That's just the nature of this move, but that's okay because this is what we're going for. We want to get the points really tight together and we want to get the bottom as close as we can. And you're going to glue all 10 of those petals that you had made together, so you get 5 large petals doing it this way. And you're going to set that aside until those are all dry. And at that point, you can go ahead and take your petals off of your workboard. And if you need to help that point get a little crisper, you can do that. You can pinch it together a little bit extra if you need to. Mine didn't glue all the way to the end, and I did this on camera because I wanted to show what you need to do if that happens. You just want a little bit of a crisper point, add another small dot of glue and just hold that for a second. And that will fix that problem and make it nice and pointy. There you go. That's all we're looking for there. And like I said, we glued all of those 10 together to make 5 of those big petals. And now we can glue them together and start making our flower. I'm going to be using tacky glue for this part because I want it to set together, and then we're going to start molding it because we're going to make these flowers look like they're blooming and have some really good big dimension. This is pretty basic flower shape. That's what we're looking for, is to glue the 5 together. And if you need to dip your pieces in tacky glue, you can do that. If you want to grab a little toothpick or a little paintbrush, however you apply the glue is fine. I'm using a needle tool and just putting some glue right where they meet. You don't need a lot of glue for this part. Just enough so that it all will stay together. Just like that. Try not to get too much on the parchment paper. It will pop right off, but it'll make it a little bit easier if you don't get a lot of glue on your paper. Let's clean that off and put that aside. Now, what we're going to do next is completely optional. I just found it easier to do this part and then have a nice place to put my small petals. What I'm going to do is fill in the center a little bit. And to do that, I'm just going to make a tight coil out of the same color, that sunset orange that I used before. And all that is just gluing some strips together and rolling them up on my needle tool. I think this ended up being about 2.5 of those 18-inch strips. It's not a perfect fit, and that's okay. As long as it hits at least one side of my flower, the center of the flower, you're not going to see this later on. It's just going to be kind of a base to put your small petals on that are going to make up the next layer of this flower so they don't fall through the hole. I made some without doing this, and it definitely was a little bit trickier. After that all sets for a little bit, maybe I should have let it set for a little bit longer. It's okay. We're going to put it in however you are molding your flower. Again, if you don't want your flower to be opening up, you want it completely flat, skip this part. You do not need to mold the flower if you don't want to. I just like my flowers to have that kind of shape to them. I just think it's fun, and it gives it a good place to be able to put leaves underneath of the flowers when you're done, just to make it look more of a entire scene. I just need to add a little bit more glue to that center piece just to get it in place, and then leave it for a few minutes and it dries. Again, it is not a big deal that that center is not completely filling up the entire space. If you want yours to, by all means, go ahead. I didn't want to take the time or the extra paper to do that. I just wanted a little bit of a base where I'd be able to put these pieces. These are the smaller ones, the smaller petals I didn't make on camera. This is the ones that I said it had 6 loops instead of 8. And I made them exactly the same way, took it off the tool, pinched the top, and pushed it towards my other hand to open them up. But these are just solo. These aren't glued together and pinned like the bigger flowers. But I'm going to make them into a flower shape just like I did before. And I want to mold these a little bit too. These are a little bit smaller than the bottom. So if I just put it in the bottom, it wouldn't open up like the other flower did. So I kind of put it against the side and just let it mold that way while it dries. And that gives it, again, a little bit of dimension. I'm going to put that aside and just get it completely dry while we move on to the next part, which is making the little stamen to put inside your flower, the little parts that would make the pollen on your flowers. So let's just push everything out of the way real quick. And I'm going to grab those really thin yellow strips. Again, these are 1/16 inch, 2 millimeter, whatever you have handy. If you only have 1/8 inch paper, you can cut it in half. I've done that many, many times because you really need a very small amount of this paper. So don't go buying new stuff if you don't need to. You can just cut really thin sheets of paper, or really just make it out of the 1/8 inch if you'd rather. All I do is roll a couple of rolls on my needle tool, keeping this long strip, and then squish it. After I squish it, I put a little bit of glue underneath what I've rolled, use my tweezers to just clamp it down for a couple seconds, and then that is dry. It's going to look like a squished letter P. Cut off a tiny bit. It's about 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch. You can make these different sizes. That's what I like to do, just to give it a little bit of variation. And then if you want a little bit of a curve to it, a little bit more of a lifelike quality, you're going to run it through a tool or your fingernails just to curve that end. And that's it. I ended up using 5 of those different sizes. And that's all the pieces together now for this flower. Put it all together. You just want to put a little bit of glue on the back of the smaller petals. If you want to use tacky glue again, by all means, go ahead. This is just a little bit easier to control. And just kind of offset them between the larger flowers. Should look something like that at this point. And then we're going to be able to put those yellow stamen in. And if you used that circle that we made before to fill in that hole in the bottom, that will really come in handy at this point. We're going to be just dipping the yellow stamen in some glue and holding them in there as they dry. That circle base definitely gives it a nice standing point, so you don't have to hold them as long. Maybe use a little bit less glue. Like I said, it's completely optional. It's not going to really change the look of your finished flower. It just makes putting it together a little bit easier. I'm using a little bit of tacky glue again at this point, and quilling tweezers, and just holding them. They don't have to be completely dry. Tacky glue, you know, helps everything kind of stick together pretty quickly. I like to start with the longest ones, and I like to put them in different directions as if they're just sort of coming out of the center of the flower like they would. And there is a little bit of space between the small flowers, and you can fit 5 of these in pretty nicely. With a little bit of glue and your tweezers. It makes this go pretty quickly. That's about it. As I rearrange these just slightly. That is pretty much what you're looking for with this flower. I'm calling it a big tropical flower. I don't really know exactly what this flower would be called. I just kind of made this up just by using the tools. I didn't start with a reference on this one. So we're just kind of making an imaginary sort of flower, but between the colors and the shape and the size, that's what it sort of reminded me of. I do have a couple more I made with different colors. This one is a color called Sunset Red from Craft Harbor, and this one is also Craft Harbor. It's fuchsia. The fuchsia one I made with using more teeth. It's 10 teeth on my comb for the larger petals on the bottom, and then there is, I think, 8 on the smaller size. I like that one too. I like the size of it. It's really big. It's like 4 or 5 inches across. It's a big flower. As always, don't forget to leave any questions you have in the comments, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. I will, as always, link to all the tools I used in this video in the description box, and I will link to the different colors of paper I used as well. That buttercup yellow I use for the stamen is really hard to find. It's a company called JJ Quilling, and they have since gone out of business. But I will try to find something equivalent to that color and that size, and I will link to that as well. I have also just started organizing my Amazon storefront, so that not only has the tools that I use for this video, but also tools and supplies that I use for all quilling across the board and different projects. That's going to be linked in my description box, as well as I am making new extras on my Buy Me a Coffee page. If you're looking for another way to support me, you can go to that link and you can see there's only one extra video for now, but there will be more coming soon. So thank you all very much for your support over the years. A lot of people have contributed to the Buy Me a Coffee page, and I always really, really appreciate it. It's very, very sweet. Don't forget also to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and that way you will be around for my next video. I will see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.